Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
It's Monday night. The Sports Hounds are live from the Real Talk Studios, Runnymede, New Jersey. Brad Ryer back in the mix. I'm Rob Brinkman. Frank Vesby producing the show. As always, the Sports Hounds are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Dr. Paul Vidal, 3 convenient locations. Visit specializedphysicaltherapy.com for more information on their services. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Periscope. We're on Instagram. We're on Google Play. We're on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube. The takeover is real. A2D is absolutely everywhere. Join the movement. Give us a like. Give us a share. Join the debate. We're going to talk about it tonight. We got a fun show tonight. We're going to have some Hall of Fame talk. We got the Eli Hall of Fame talk. That's going to be our poll question. I can't promise it won't get physical between me and Brad on this debate. We have, obviously, at the head of the table, first and foremost, Kobe Bryant, the number 8 Lakers purple jersey, sitting at the head of the table. And Brad, just a tremendous tragedy, not only for the sports world, but, for mankind, for, humanity.
Nine innocent people getting killed on a that's just it's awful.
On a helicopter.
On a helicopter, and they're blaming it on the weather. And I mean, they haven't got the whole investigation complete, but it sounds like they probably were in a situation where they couldn't see where they were landing because of the fog.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds
and,
like.
I was watching the golf pretty much all day yesterday, which was at Torrey Pines, which is about 50, 60 miles south of where the tragedy happened. And it was foggy. It was windy. The guys had windbreakers on. So I guess that makes sense. But, I mean, be that as it may, how it happened, Kobe Bryant gone way too young, 41 years old, also his 13-year-old daughter, and other people associated with, I guess, Kobe Bryant's daughter's AAU club.
Coach
basketball.
Coach Altobelli.
Yes, a Yankee tie.
And his wife and his daughter. I mean, it's just it's really sad. And then you had the two sisters with their father.
Yes,
that were going to play, and them too. I mean, it's awful, and the pilot as well. I mean, it really, when I heard it broke my heart. First, I was hoping it was going to be fake news, and then I'm looking.
I saw it on TMZ though, and they're pretty solid.
And that's what everybody thought too. Is that of all sources, TMZ was the one to break it, and of course, apparently everybody found out through TMZ and not by means of the police officers, the LA County sheriffs, and all that.
You kind of laugh when you hear TMZ,
right?
But, I mean, they're not a sports
exactly
outlet, which I guess is the knock on them when it comes to news like this.
Right.
But I mean, Kobe Bryant wasn't just an athlete. I mean, Kobe Bryant was a pop culture icon. He just won an Academy Award. He was kind of starting his second career. A family man. A Philadelphia man through and through, 1996,
Absolutely.
Lower Merion, the state champion in Pennsylvania. Just so many ties to the area. Always came back. Always got a cheese.
Larry steaks.
Loved Larry steaks.
Yep.
I can't say I've ever had a Larry steak.
No, I've never been there.
I've never been there. Have you had Larry's, Frank?
I have heard of Larry's, but I've never had Larry's. I will try to make a trek there sometime in the near future.
But, I mean, and, me and my dad, when we always talk about sports, you can always tell who the great ones are because you can identify them with one name.
Oh, and especially
Kobe,
in basketball.
Tiger, Kareem, Wilt. I mean, the list goes on and on. Griffey, even you go to
Junior. Well, Griffey is more junior.
Griffey's junior, yeah. But a terrible tragedy. I mean, you look at him, over 20 years in the league, an 18-time All-Star, 19 first-team All-NBA. I believe it was a 5-time first-team All-Defense. Just really sad stuff. And
Super player. I mean, you know what? I'll tell you what, Rob. A lot of these guys that are playing now are playing because of Kobe Bryant. I mean, if you think about it, he was in his prime when most of these guys were growing up.
Yes.
So you have to think that probably like 80% of the league probably worshiped the ground that guy walked on.
Look at Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid was in Africa watching him play, and that's why he decided to pick up a basketball.
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, it's remarkable. It's really sad. I mean, it really is. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, here's a guy, and he was so close with his daughter, and here's a guy who, somebody said to him, it's too bad you don't have a son, and his daughter turned around and said, "Don't worry, I got this." And she was pretty good. They were thinking she could be in the WNBA. That's how good a prospect.
I mean, her
she
dream was to play at UConn for Coach Gino Auriemma, the women's powerhouse. They did they're scrimmaging as we speak against Team USA. Did a whole tribute for Kobe before the game.
The Laker game tomorrow
The
against
Laker
the Clippers
game
has been
yes.
canceled.
I'm glad that the NBA didn't do a wide postponement because I don't think Kobe would have wanted that.
That would have been. I don't think Kobe would have wanted. I think Kobe's probably, probably not thrilled that they're not playing tomorrow night. But I mean, there's too many people that are just too upset right now to play basketball in Los Angeles right now, and that it's definitely the right move. I mean, the fans that go to the game, it just happened. I mean, it's too soon.
And then Saturday night in Philadelphia, I mean, LeBron passes Kobe for third all-time on the scoring list. His last
tweet,
social media interactions
congratulations.
were tweets to congratulations to LeBron James.
And it was definitely a heartfelt congratulations.
And his last official social media post was an Allen Iverson, a retweet of an Allen Iverson tweet about how, I forget what the exact tweet was, but along the lines of how Kobe was a role model and just a great person and a great player as well.
Even, you know what? I'll tell you what. The fact that Shaq and Kobe, and they couldn't stand each other when they were playing together, the fact that Shaq could barely speak, he was so upset about what happened, would tell you how things changed. And, Kobe, after he played, just touched a lot of guys. I mean, Kyrie Irving couldn't even play last night for the Nets against the Knicks.
Is that why he didn't play?
Yeah,
Is that why he sat out?
He was so heartbroken he couldn't play. They just told him to go home because he just couldn't go out there.
And then you look at him. I mean, Magic Johnson calling him the greatest Laker of all time. I'd have to wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah,
he got a little more.
I'll tell you what. There were a lot of great.
Lakers, but I mean,
Wilt was not in his prime when he's with the Lakers, so.
I mean, he had an 81-point game, the second most ever to Wilt's 100 against the Toronto Raptors. I remember in high school. I remember I got to the bus stop. I was in high school with my buddies, and I was rushing out the door so I didn't miss the bus and get killed by my parents. But I was looking at the bottom line on ESPN, and I'm like, yo, guys, did Kobe have 61 points last night? They said, no, Rob, he had 81 points last night.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow. So he did just
81.
It's an epic performance. And then the final game of his career,
he scored 60.
He scored 60.
Now, I know he took a lot of shots, but still,
he took 50
points.
shots. But we'll give him a break on that
since
since
his last game.
But I mean, if our memory serves me correct, the Lakers weren't very good that season.
No,
and there was the finale. I believe it was against the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, and it was the thing to do. To pass
just,
the ball to Kobe and
let him go. Let him go.
Let him try to have a great game, and he 60 points is 60 points.
And then everyone wants to talk about the Mamba mentality, but the killer instinct, the points and the championships. But people forget. I mean, he was just as good a defender as he was.
Oh yeah,
an offensive player.
And you know what? And a lot of people were making I remember when they won the 3 championships in a row. A lot of people are saying, well, Kobe has Shaq. Because Kobe has Shaq. Well, guess what? He won 2 in a row. And to me, the most...
2 or 3, I
2
think
or 3.
it was.
No, you're right. 2 or 3. The 5th one, which in my opinion was the most impressive one when he won with Pau Gasol against the Celtics. I mean, he absolutely took over that game. The Celtics
Yes.
had a lot of real good players in that team. I mean, they had
that
Paul
was the
Pierce,
trio. They had Rondo,
Kevin
Pierce, Garnett,
Garnett.
Allen.
I mean, he took over that game. He was unguardable.
I mean, I think you're selling the Lakers role players a little short there. They had a great team as well. They had Powell.
they did, but
They had Odom.
they
They
did.
had
But
Artest. Bynum. That was when Bynum was actually good.
yes.
Then he gets traded to Philadelphia, and he was just a piece of garbage.
Yeah, but it's still if you look at that team talent wise, I mean, you're not talking about a team that had a multitude of talent.
No,
after Kobe.
they were basketball teams as
Yeah.
opposed to some of the
They were like the Dallas.
contrived super teams that we see.
They were like
some
the
of these
Dallas
days.
Mavericks when they beat the Heat. That was a real basketball team.
Yes,
With one superstar on it,
yes.
and that was kind of what Kobe was after Shaq left. Kobe
You're
was
kind of getting back to
the
that though. with the-
eminent superstar on the team. Pau Gasol was a star, but I wouldn't call him a superstar.
Yes.
He was a perfect number 2 player for that team.
Yeah, I mean, Pau Gasol was really good.
Oh, I know he was.
He
I
could
know
do
was.
everything. He could shoot the ball.
Especially
he
in
could pass
his
the ball.
prime, and he could rebound, play defense. But Kobe was he was one of these guys. He had ice water in his veins. Just a terrific shooter. I mean, he could really shoot.
And then, I mean, got my mind thinking just the other athletes and other sports that we just lost way too young. Obviously, none of them on par with Kobe Bryant, but I'm a big golf guy. I mean, Payne Stewart basically won the 1999 U.S. Open and then died in a plane crash.
I
Roberto
Clemente,
died in a plane crash as well.
Thurman Munson,
Thurman Munson. You talk about him often.
constantly. Rocky Marciano,
Yes,
which was probably
that's a good one.
the biggest tragedy out of all of them was Rocky Marciano.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was
Was that
49 and 0.
Was that a plane?
Yeah,
That was a plane crash. Yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I mean, just awful.
But Munson, you always talk about his season where what did he have? 8 home runs, but he had 100 RBIs,
He had 8 home runs and 102 RBIs.
which is just crazy.
Incredible clutch hitting.
That's
That's like every time there's a runner on base, he's going to get a hit.
I don't know,
Literally.
dead heat between Clemente and Munson in terms of number 2.
Well, Clemente's in the Hall of Fame. I mean,
Munson's not in the Hall of Fame.
no.
Just
No. They won't-
longevity.
Yeah, he didn't play long enough, I guess. I mean, I don't understand it because I think he's deserving of it anyway because of the years he did play. He was really a very good player. I mean, he really was. He won Gold Gloves. He won an MVP. He won 2 World Series. I mean, I don't know what more they could ask out of the guy. I mean, hit 300 3 years in a row as a catcher. Had 100 RBIs 3 years in a row as a catcher. I mean, not that many catchers do that. When Thurman Munson did that, I believe he was the first catcher in like 20 or 30 years to do something like that. It really, after him, I think the next Johnny Bench never did that. Batted 300 at 3 years in a row and had 100 RBIs at the same time. Johnny Bench never came close to 300. Neither did a lot of these other guys. I mean, really, other than Piazza, who else was able to do that? Mauer, maybe?
Mauer won an MVP.
Did he ever have 100 RBIs? Maybe he did.
I mean, he might have in that one season, but I mean, he didn't sustain it really. Mauer.
Yeah, but he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, though.
Joe Mauer?
Yeah, he's definitely got to be a Hall of Famer, though. Joe Mauer.
I mean, one MVP award gets you in?
Well, I mean, didn't he hit over 300 lifetime as a catcher?
I'd have to look at his stats. I mean, I don't know when he's going to be up, but
Yeah, I would have to look, too. I mean, I know he hasn't been good. I know he wasn't very good as a first baseman, as far as his offense is concerned. But, I mean, he's 100 years old now.
he
he's
played
way past his prime.
until I mean, he's not eligible yet.
No, but I mean, but in his prime, he was.
He was really good.
Yeah.
They had some good teams over there in Minnesota.
Yep. But getting back to Kobe, though, I mean, as I said, my favorite moment with him was when they beat the Celtics.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I couldn't stand the Celtics, and it was just so nice to see the Lakers go in and knock them off Game 7, and that was one heck of a game.
Because that was they played 2 years in a row in the finals.
Right, and the
And-
Celtics won the year before.
the Celtics won the first one. I remember they won Game 6 in Staples to ice it by 30 or 40 points. They just totally
they crushed them.
It totally steamrolled them. And then Kobe came back the next year like nothing happened and won it again. So 5-time NBA champion, 18-time All-Star, 9 times first-team All-NBA, certainly a first ballot Hall of Fame.
2006 MVP, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 MVP award.
Well, you and I both
He's the third.
both know about MVPs. Being an MVP is kind of a popularity contest.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times so. But I mean,
Well, what do you mean? Based on who's won an MVP award based on how popular they were as opposed to their stat line?
Well, I mean, I guess Olajuwon kind of deserved it most when he won it. Jordan probably deserved it when he won all those MVPs. And Shaq, I mean, how many did Shaq win?
I think he got one. Definitely won in 2000. I think he had one with the Magic as well. He was unbelievable with the Magic when they went to the finals.
Oh, he was
And
unstoppable.
they played a kid. He couldn't beat a kid. They were just overwhelmed by Akeem, and Nick Anderson missed those foul shots like a sweat bag.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And he had Penny, but I mean, Shaq in 2000 was unbelievable.
Shaq at times was unstoppable.
And then you had Malone won one. He was certainly not Mr. Popularity at all.
Moses?
No, Kareem. Or no, Karl Malone.
Karl Malone, okay.
He won
Twice.
Karl Malone 2 MVPs.
Yep. 97 and 99.
How would he win over Michael Jordan ever?
He had a great season in 1998, and he won that year.
Yeah.
Or 97.
Yeah.
Because they lost 2 years in a row to the Bulls.
They did, yeah.
But Malone got the MVP the one year.
Yeah. And
Did
that was
Barkley
the
get
97.
the MVP the year he was with Phoenix that they lost in the finals?
Barkley.
I don't think so.
Barkley
Actually, he
won
might
it
have in 94.
92, 93.
92, 93?
Yes.
He was certainly not Mr. Popular.
Yeah. They were,
No, that's
that was
true.
the year, yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But feel free to drop your Kobe memories, your Kobe love in the comments. We're going to get to our scans on. Old sponsor.
right.
Our poll question brought to you by ATS Sports. Visit atsportspicks.com. Enter the promo code A2D for 20% off their services. Poll question of the night. This is a big one. I can't promise it's not going to get physical between me and Brad tonight. Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. You got hashtag agree, hashtag disagree. Obviously, it's been a few weeks since we've done a full 2 hours, but Eli Manning Friday announces retirement. Look,
I'd also request that when you let us know who's your what fan base you belong to. Because I predict that not one Eagle fan will give
this
him
is
the credit
not.
he's due.
Look. When those lights come on in the Real Talk studios, I pride myself in being pretty objective and telling the truth. And nobody at this station that's a Philadelphia sports fans is more critical and holds the teams more accountable than me.
And
period.
me as well.
End of story.
And I beat up my teams pretty well too.
So we can throw that out the window. Now, I anticipate we're going to get some Eli Manning hate just because he was on the Giants. But, Brad, when I look at Eli Manning, I just don't see a transcendent generational quarterback that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt about it, like he's being talked about. I see a quarterback that turned the ball over a lot. I see a quarterback
so did Brett Favre.
Okay. Brett Favre's a multiple-time MVP in this league, multiple-time All-Pro in this league.
How
Eli
many
Manning's
Super Bowls did he win?
1.
How shitty did he play in the playoffs?
I mean, Brad, are we just really gonna get into this just based on championships?
Eli has.
Because I can list a whole shit bag of quarterbacks that have Super Bowls that aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but how many of them have?
Nick Foles is a Super Bowl champion. He won the MVP.
Does he have 377 touchdown passes?
It's a longevity thing.
He still had to play. He still had to play, Rob. He still had to be good enough as a quarterback to play that long to be there.
117 and 117 career record. 500 quarterback. 17 seasons as a starter. He reached the playoff five times.
Joe, let me ask you a question. No,
Joe
reached
Namath being in the Hall of Fame, I mean, that's an
Sonny-
icon status.
Sonny Jurgensen.
Okay, what's your point?
The record is not always. The
You
record is
can't
not always
compare
indicative.
quarterbacks from today to quarterbacks like Sonny Jurgensen, who played in the 50s or whenever the hell that guy
All right,
played.
Well, Drew Brees at the beginning of his career played on 2-14 Charger teams.
Drew Brees is going to have every pass.
Drew Brees is great now, but listen, if you're comparing,
Drew Brees has always been pretty
Rob,
good.
if you're going to compare Eli to guys like Brady, Rodgers, Drew Brees, or Peyton, he's not as good as them. And I totally would agree with you. Those guys were always clearly better than him. But as far as
he's in the Philip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger type of.
He's better than Philip Rivers. And as far as Ben Roethlisberger,
You sure?
Yeah, I think so. If Phillip
I don't
Rivers,
have any of the three in the on my Hall of Fame
if Phillip
ballot.
Rivers played in Giant Stadium with that wind all the time, what do you think his passing records would look like?
Look, Philip Rivers not.
I mean, he played
Philip Rivers not a Hall of Famer.
In San Diego in perfect weather all the time, and didn't.
Yeah, they always came up short.
Yeah,
and he's another one that threw a lot. He was a total gunslinger and threw a lot of interceptions
I think
and always
Big Ben-
came up small.
I think Big Ben is a Hall of Famer.
That's close.
I absolutely think he's a Hall
That's
of Famer.
close.
I think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer, but it's not fair to compare them to God.
But
to
that's
the
how
Big
you
Four.
that's how you look at the Hall of Fame. You look at it by position. Like let's switch over to let's transition to baseball for a second.
Okay.
I don't understand for the life of me how Jeff Kent isn't a Hall of Famer. You look at his stats compared to other second basemen that are in the Hall of Fame, and Jeff Kent blows him out of the water.
Because he couldn't field.
Okay.
That's
and
no.
that's
I mean, you're asking.
Okay.
You're asking me, and I remember watching Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent as a hitter was great, but let's be honest, okay?
not
He
a
also
good defensive player. I get it.
And he also got to hit in front of Barry Bonds most of his
I get
career
it.
too. And you know what? That is a big deal.
But stats are stats. I mean, look at all these Hall of Famers. Look at the lineups Jeter hit in.
Okay, but Jeter used to lead off for the most part,
Okay.
or bat second.
Why do you think he scored 100 runs so many times? Because he had Bernie Williams hitting cleanup to knock him in.
Well, he also was
Posada.
He was also really fast.
I get
too.
it.
You know, and he was also had a lifetime.
I get it.
He had a lifetime 300
I get
batting
it.
average.
I get it.
And he hit. You know, he was always on.
I'm a
base.
big Jeter guy.
Yeah, no,
You don't have to eat.
But no, as far as you're asking about the runs scored, it helps to be really fast. Let's be honest.
I
If you
understand.
run, it
But like you can't. You need to look at Eli Manning in terms of other quarterbacks that are going to get in. You bring up Favre. Favre's a multiple-time MVP in this league. Eli Manning's never even sniffed the award. I mean, making the playoffs 5 out of 17 years.
actually it was 6.
You sure? Not 5?
6. He was 8-4 in the playoffs.
And then, I mean, you like.
So that means he lost 4 playoff games. That means 4 years he was in the playoffs. Okay, plus the 2 championships. So that's 6. But you can't blame him. You can't blame him for how bad the Giants have been the last couple of years. That wasn't his fault. They had no offensive line. They had no defense to speak of. I mean, Odell Beckham was busy trying to be a prima donna
Well, he's
instead
a
of
clown.
concentrating.
And,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
I'm totally out on him. And it looks like Antonio Brown's going to the slammer.
Everybody is talking about 117 and 117. If you take away the 8-26 record the last 3 years, I mean,
Why should I be taking that away?
because
I don't
the Giants,
understand.
because the Giants team was
Isn't that
horrible.
partly because of Eli Manning? Because he didn't play good. He didn't play up to his contract.
When the defense is giving up over 400 points and you have to throw the ball all the time? It's not.
That's
so
why
easy.
he's 7th in passing yards. But that's why he's 7th in passing yards.
He's
That's why he
7th in
has
passing
366 touchdowns.
He's
playing from behind all the time because the Giants blow.
The last 3 seasons they've been terrible. But you know what? When he was in his prime, he was absolutely the number 5 quarterback in the game. He just wasn't as good as the top 4.
Oh,
but he's
jeez,
still,
oh, man,
he's
are
still
you
more,
kidding me?
He's still more than qualified to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, if you saw some of the passes he used to throw, what a big-time quarterback he was, how
Okay, so,
great he
so
was.
he closed his eyes and he threw the ball straight up in the air, and David Tyree catches it on his helmet.
Wait a minute,
he gets to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he closed his eyes.
Oh, come on.
He escaped.
First
the
off,
pass
that plays a
rush.
total
escaped
total
the pass
bullshit
rush.
because it should have been called dead.
It
And if he
was.
didn't play,
Why would it be
if
called
his last
dead?
name, Because he's
his
wrapped
legs
up in
were
the
still
pocket.
his legs were still
I've seen a
moving.
lot less called dead due to forward progress.
They're not going to do that in the Super Bowl. They're not going to blow. a
Yeah,
play
because
dead
his
like
last
that.
name's Manning and he plays for New York.
No,
so
because
why,
it's
no,
the Super Bowl. They're not going to. They wouldn't have called Brady
Why?
for that either.
Why are the rules different in the Super Bowl than they are in Week
Because
1
you
or
have
Week
to be
2?
Because you have to be down. Okay, down by this. The stuff where they stop the plays. Generally speaking, half the time they shouldn't be calling the play down. And what about the pass to Manningham? Was that a fluke or was that an incredible pass?
I
that
can't
was thrown
take away
between-
his championships. I can't do it.
But it's not just. It's
don't
not
you
just
think?
the
So you don't
championships, Rob.
think you don't?
How many times were the Giants favored in those playoff games? In those 8 games?
Not a lot.
Once. The game that they won 24-2 against Atlanta. The other 7 games, they were underdogs. As a matter of
They
fact,
won a game 24-2.
Yeah, 24-2.
It's got to be the only 24-2 game in playoff history.
Probably. They smoked Atlanta. But I mean, other than that, all the games they played, they
Well,
were
I
always
remember them.
they were always on the road.
I remember they were the number 1 seed in 2007. The Eagles went in the Meadowlands and kicked their teeth in, 23-11.
Because Plaxico Burress.
But the
shot
Giants were
himself.
favored in that football game.
But the Giants also lost because Plaxico Burress shot himself
But
in the
you
leg.
just
and
said
he
there's
was
only
the top
one
of
game
their-
that they were favored in the playoff. That's just not true.
No, I'm talking about in the championship runs. The years they won the championship.
okay.
They were. And if you look at
You're overvalued, and this is not just you. This is anyone who thinks Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. Rings are overvalued. They're overvalued.
Not when you're a quarterback, and not if you do it twice. Okay, and both Super Bowl wins, did he not have the final drive, score a touchdown? The answer is yes.
I can't take that away from him. I just
I
don't.
mean,
see-
when you
I
step
can
up like
easily
that and
tell
do
the
that-
story of. It's the NFL 100-year anniversary, right? I can easily tell the story of the NFL without even mentioning Eli Manning's name.
Well, not if you're talking about Giant football, you can't.
There's more to the NFL than the New York Giants, Brad.
Of course there's more to the NFL than the New York Giants, but the bottom line is the 2 years he still won 2 Super Bowls. He won 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and he was the main reason they won both
So
of
if
those
Nick
Super Bowls.
Foles gets Jacksonville on track, or he goes somewhere else
If
and
Nick
wins a Super Bowl and becomes the MVP, he's a Hall of Famer.
If he starts playing a bunch of full seasons, stays healthy for the full seasons, and starts throwing for between 3,000 and 4,000
I
yards
mean, he had a
every
season
year,
where he went 27-2, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
okay, but he doesn't.
He's one of 6 quarterbacks who's thrown 7 touchdowns in a game.
Eli happens to be one of those too.
No, he's not.
He did it against the Saints.
No, he's not.
He did it
He
against
threw
the
6.
Saints.
Didn't throw 7. Peyton
The 52-49 game.
did not. He's never thrown. Eli Manning's never thrown 7 touchdowns in a game.
You sure? I thought
No.
he threw 7 that game.
Foles, Peyton
Maybe
Manning.
it was 6. Maybe it was 6, and they
Brady
ran for
hasn't
1.
even thrown 7 touchdowns in a game. He's only thrown 6. Let me see if I have the tab open of the guys who threw 7 touchdowns in a game.
I thought that 52-49 game he threw.
Frank, can
7
you get
touchdowns.
the list? Guys who've thrown 7 touchdowns in a game.
Yeah.
Peyton did. Foles did. Sid Luckman did. I think Breeze might have thrown
All right.
7
Here
touchdowns.
we
in a
go.
game.
Tittle did, didn't
Yep.
Y.A. Tittle did,
In
right?
order, we have Sid Luckman. He did it the first time. Adrian Burke was the second. Then George Blanda, Y.A. Tittle, Joe Cap, Peyton Manning, Nick Foles, and Drew Brees.
Okay, so then he threw 6 that game. Probably the game that the 7 touchdowns. That wouldn't have happened to have been that Giant game, would it?
Had to have been.
Probably, right? Because that was the 52-49 game.
So I'm just saying. Does it
Yeah.
say? Does it say there?
It just
says-
gives me
all
the
right,
the
I
7
mean,
TDs.
we'll just assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, but getting back to Eli, if you watched all the Giant games and you watched just how clutch this guy was, how he would when it mattered most play his best, which was a lot like Derek Jeter, by the way. When it mattered most, he played his best. He played his best football. I mean, that's a Hall of Fame type player, a guy that raises his level to that kind of player in a big spot. He was a better playoff performer than Peyton. That's for sure.
Okay.
Do you think Peyton Manning played better in the playoffs than his brother?
I mean, they say they have the same amount of Super Bowls.
Okay, but the second game that the Broncos won, They wouldn't even let him throw the damn ball that game.
Okay, but I mean,
Eli basically carried the Giants in the fourth quarter.
I mean,
in
there was a
both
lot
those
of
games.
factors on that. They were just
They were dominant
infrastructurally well designed and one. Those two teams, they remind me of the 2017 Eagles. They were good teams, top to bottom, and they ended up winning.
Who, the Giants or the
Giants?
Broncos?
The Giants.
The
both
Giants
of them.
had no. The Giants. The year the Giants won was a lot like the Eagles. They had no. They weren't great at anything, but they weren't weak in anything either.
Yes.
They had no weaknesses.
Top to bottom, they were very good football teams. That includes Eli Manning. But I mean, let's not make Eli Manning
Don't
morphed into the
forget-
Incredible Hulk and was just throwing touchdown
What
passes
was-
left and right in the Super Bowl, because that's not what happened. And I
But
did watch those
also,
Giants
They
games.
also beat an 18-0 football team.
That's okay.
Okay, I mean, you can't take that away from them.
Okay, well,
That
they had a
team was
great
18-0,
defensive
and they
game
were
plan, and they
talking-
got in Brady's face.
They were
I
talking.
mean, Eli
about,
Manning scored only got 2 touchdowns in that game. They scored 14 points.
You do know the last week of the season they played each other.
I get it.
Okay,
And-
he had 4 touchdown passes in that
Okay.
game. All I'm saying is the Giants' defense went to school on that game on how to try to stop New England. They had a great game plan, and basically Tom Coughlin was very smart about what he did. He made the Giants play all the regulars in that game, and everybody was criticizing.
That was
them.
week 17, right?
Yep, everybody was criticizing them. They lost that game 38-28.
Yeah, because they wanted to be.
They wanted to
They
play
want-
their
they didn't
top
want-
players against.
Because that
New
was in the
England.
Meadowlands, right?
Yep, and New England
They
played
didn't
all
want
their
them to
top
get
players.
undefeated.
Right, and they played all their top players, and I think one of their offensive linemen, if I'm not mistaken, I think their center got injured that game, and he didn't play in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure somebody got hurt. Maybe it was Sean O'Hara. I think it was Sean O'Hara.
Giants. All right, let's get to some comments. Eileen Pompey, Tommy Arnone checking in, heartbroken. That's in reference to Kobe, I'm assuming. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just 41. I mean, who knows where his film career would have gone? I mean, he just won an Academy Award last year for his animated series, which I watched this morning. It's phenomenal. Should have never taken off. I'm assuming that's in reference to the crash and the helicopter. What's up, fellas? Still in shock. Disagree to the poll. He's the best Manning in the family, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
And what kind of fan is he?
Eli Manning. That's Greg. He's an Eagles fan.
Shocking.
But he also just said that Peyton Manning, Eli's better than Peyton, which is just a complete farce.
No,
and he's better than that. I can't believe he just said that.
Only in the playoffs, not.
I
during
mean,
the
come
regular
on.
season.
I mean, Peyton Manning had his trouble. Look, all these guys had trouble winning, except for, Eli was able to get one. Foles was able to get one. Eli got 2, excuse me, and Foles got 1. But Peyton's got 2 because he had to play Brady every year. Breeze has 1 because he had to play Brady.
Breeze has 1 because he had to also play Rodgers.
Yeah, but Rodgers only has 1 because he had to play Brady.
Rodgers.
I'm just saying, there's not rings to go around in this great quarterback era because Tom Brady won them all.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, what? This is the first Super Bowl in 17 years that doesn't have Brady, Peyton, or Ben as the AFC representative. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is unbelievable.
And a lot of the lion's share of that has gone to Tom Brady.
Absolutely.
But come on, Greg's better than that. He doesn't mean that. He's just trying to pump you up, I guess. Eli Manning's not better than Peyton.
Eli was definitely a better playoff quarterback than Peyton, though.
Deion Brown checks in. What's up, fellas? Man, I'm still in shock and will be for some time to come. Not just about Kobe, but as well for everyone who lost their lives in that tragic, unfortunate accident. Kevin Godwin, did you just say Eli's better than Peyton? He did. I read it. He typed it. Maybe he typed it wrong. Poll question. McNabb is on the ballot with more playoff wins than Eli and 2 less rings. He'll get it. He'll get in soon enough, but it's going to be a wait.
But the problem with
Let's
McNabb
just take a
is that
timeout.
He choked in the
Donovan
big game.
McNabb is not a Hall of Famer. He's just not. And I was a big McNabb guy for a lot of years, but Donovan McNabb lost all my respect when he threw up in the Super Bowl and just was a big baby throughout the TO drama. Just did nothing to diffuse the situation as the leader of the team. Just wanted to be a sourpuss because T.O. came into town and they reached the Super Bowl. T.O. was the best player on the team, and McNabb just couldn't handle it. He was just a huge sourpuss about it. One Super Bowl appearance. His playoff wins are his playoff wins. You can't take that away from him. He was there a lot, and he won a lot of playoff games, but never played the opposite of Eli Manning when it came to playing his best.
He never played his best game.
When it comes to playing his best football, when it mattered most, complete opposite of Eli Manning. Donovan McNabb's not a Hall of Famer. He's just not.
The difference
Eli Manning's more of a Hall of Famer
Eli
than Donovan McNabb.
Eli Manning lifted his game in big spots. That is the point I want to make. I can name you a couple of regular season games that I can remember that were, to me, unforgettable games that he played, and they won because of him. Do you remember the Dallas game? I'm not talking about the opening game. I'm talking about the one where Dallas was ahead.
We're talking about Giants regular season football.
Well, no, I'm talking about a game.
I don't recall.
They were Dallas was ahead of them by 17 points in Dallas. I think it was the first game down there, and Eli engineered a comeback where they scored 21 points in the last 5 minutes of the game and won the game. I mean, these are things that he did. He had 37 come from behind wins in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's a lot of games. You know, I mean, that's right up there with John Elway.
Okay.
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. He did what he had to do to win games when he had decent teams. Also, how many Hall of Famers did he have playing on his team, on his offense? I can answer that. 0. He never had a Hall of Famer on his offense. On the offense, yeah, they had a couple of Hall of Famers on the defense, but not on the offense. And right now, they only had one Hall of Famer on the defense, and that was Michael Strahan.
I mean, okay. I mean, he's going to get in because his last name's Manning, and he played in New York, and he won the Super Bowl twice. But he's not a Hall of Famer in my eyes. He doesn't pass. He's just not. And I am objective about this stuff. I'm not an Eli hater because he was on the Giants. I didn't particularly like him. I wasn't a fan of him because he was on the Giants. Also, the team that you shit on week in and week out, about being the worst franchise in the history. Eli Manning was 10-23 against, including 0-2 in the playoffs. That's his record against the Philadelphia Eagles. He also had a losing record against the Dallas Cowboys at 13-14. He was able to beat Dallas once in the playoffs.
In the last 3 years, he probably was 0-6. I mean, it is what it is. The last 3 years killed his record. Really did. I mean, can't get around that. You know, they had an awful team, and he unfortunately had to deal with that.
Sean Halak, Sr. Kobe in his prime versus Jordan in his prime, 1-on-1. Who wins? It's
Jordan.
A question I get asked a lot. Who you want to see your opinions? Yeah, it's Jordan. I mean, as much as you want to talk about the Mamba mentality, I mean, I think Jordan just edged him. Jordan was just a better version of Kobe.
Yeah, and Jordan, if you don't think Jordan had a killer mentality, you're sadly mistaken.
And Jordan, I mean, who knows where Jordan, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Jordan beat everybody.
If he didn't go play baseball for those 2-3 years.
Olajuwon may not have won a championship.
He definitely wouldn't have. I mean, you're talking about 8 championships this guy would win. 8-0 in championships.
Pretty much. I mean,
so I have Kobe as the third best player of all time. It's Jordan, LeBron, Kobe for me.
I think you're missing Wilt, but that's okay.
I mean, but Wilt was
in a different
like
time.
7'3", and everyone else was 6'7".
He's also just Wilt basically was Shaq with a bunch of little boys. Wilt was a man amongst boys. That's basically.
I just
what
can't
happened
rank
with Wilt.
centers with forwards guards. I just think it's just too tough for me. Because the guards and the forwards, they're the skill guys.
But Wilt had a lot of skills. Wilt could handle the ball too when
I get it.
in his early in his career. It just I mean when he played for the Sixers,
Wilt can be fourth.
They had Hal Greer, and they had some other guys that were really good. And then when he went to the Lakers, I mean Jerry West and Gail Goodrich handled the ball. So I mean, he didn't need to touch the ball.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, Jordan's the undisputed best. No one will ever touch him.
I agree.
His record of championships, along with his killer mentality, which was just a touch better than Kobe's. All due respect to Kobe. And LeBron, I know he doesn't have the champion. He's not on the list because of his killer instinct with those two guys. But
LeBron's a different player.
LeBron's longevity and
he's a different
what
kind of player, though. He
can do on the court.
LeBron is a team is a ultimate team player. LeBron is more a Magic Johnson type of player than a Jordan or a Kobe Bryant.
Yes, it's a different mold.
Yeah, I mean, those guys were just deadly scorers. LeBron is not really a deadly scorer. LeBron is just LeBron can beat you by passing the ball. LeBron can beat you by shooting the ball. LeBron can get to the basket, and LeBron can also play great defense. I mean, those guys were just a little different. And LeBron really could play 4 out of 5 positions pretty effectively if he wanted to.
Yes.
I don't think he could play center, but I do think power forward, shooting guard, point guard, any one of those 4
I mean,
positions.
he did play center on Saturday. It was their most successful lineup against the Sixers, where they went small and had LeBron technically at center.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not going to put him out there every night at center.
You're right.
You're not going to win with he's not going to. You won't get the best of LeBron if he's the center because he's never going to have the ball.
Well, when you talk about him playing center, it's just about who he can guard on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay, but if he's a true center isn't going to be taking the ball up the court, though.
No. Well, I mean, the game is evolving. So.
Yeah, it is. But okay, I mean, listen, if you want to put Wilt fourth on that list, as long as you have Wilt in the top 5, that's fine. That works.
Sean Halak. Eli was only drafted by the Chargers and Rivers to the Giants, but Eli didn't want to play with the Chargers. The trade was made. I remember the draft. I mean, yeah. I mean, Eli forced his way out of San Diego. He didn't want to play there, so he got to play in New York.
His father kind of basically made him not play in San Diego.
Right. Because he's a Manning and they're privileged and they thought they could just dictate.
Well, no, that's
they
not necessarily.
were successfully.
What happened was Archie didn't want him playing in San Diego because he played in a shitty New Orleans team for most of his career, all of his career actually, and he didn't want to see Eli get stuck playing on a crappy team his whole career, and that's why he did that. And listen,
well, I mean, if Eli was able to raise the level of his teammates in New York, why couldn't he do that in San Diego?
Maybe he would have. I mean, who knows? We'll never know. We'll never know that. I mean, as it turned out, they ended up having Antonio Gates and LT.
He would have had some
Hall of
Famers.
He would have had some Hall of Famers to play with. So who knows what would have happened?
And the Giants, do you think they would have 2 Super Bowls? Rivers is their quarterback?
No. When has Rivers ever played well in a big game?
No, I agree with you.
Okay, Rivers
never.
Rivers plays his worst football in big games.
He's a better version of McNabb.
Well, McNabb could run though. McNabb was a better athlete.
Rivers could. Yeah, you're right about that.
McNabb was a better athlete. The problem with McNabb, he just wasn't a very accurate quarterback. That was
McNabb wasn't a quarterback. He was an athlete that Andy Reid molded into a franchise quarterback, which is a big credit to Andy Reid.
Phenomenal runner. I mean, he was lethal as a runner.
Yeah, until he started lifting too many weights in the offseason and was just ballooned up and
then he get hurt a lot, and he would throw the ball into the ground a lot. I mean, that was a problem.
Well, I'd rather him throw. People dog McNabb for that, his inaccuracies, but I mean, I'd rather throw a worm burner than an interception. McNabb didn't really throw interceptions.
Yeah, I don't remember him throwing a lot of interceptions.
No, he wouldn't.
No.
His interceptions are way down.
I can remember him having a lot of like 17 for 37 kind of games though too.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, and that wasn't good either. I mean, it's better than throwing 3, 4, 5 interceptions in a game. I would agree with you on that. But a lot of it. I mean, I'll give you another example of a great quarterback who was horrible in postseason. Okay, Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
Randall Cunningham, as a regular season quarterback, was great, especially when he was on Minnesota. And then they went and
they
lost
really
that
only
game
had the
to
1
Atlanta.
year.
Yeah, but that game when they lost to Atlanta.
Yeah, because Anderson missed the kick.
Yeah, but I mean they didn't score that many points.
But I mean with Philadelphia, I mean they just they just choked all the time as a team.
Because Buddy Ryan offensively had an
Well,
IQ
Buddy,
of about
like
40.
if
that
if
was the
Randall
problem.
Cunningham had a quarterback, an offensive guy like Andy Reid as his quarterback, the
maybe
sky would have been the limit with Randall. I mean, look what Reid
Randall
did
was.
with Vic.
I thought Randall was a better quarterback than McNabb.
Yeah, I mean, he was a better. I mean, Randall was a superior athlete and had a cannon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he could throw the
Problem
ball.
was
throw the
Buddy
ball a
Ryan's
mile.
coaching strategy when it came to developing Randall was, go do your thing, give us 3-4 big plays a game, and we'll go smash him on defense.
I mean, Randall basically gave Randy Moss his legend to start his career.
Yeah, because he could throw the ball the whole field in that dome.
Yeah,
and
Randy Moss would run under it, and he was you couldn't cover him.
I mean, Brad Johnson. I mean, they also had Chris Carter and remember Jake Reed as well in the slot.
Oh yeah.
And Robert Smith was a great running back.
And for a couple of years, they had Ismail who could run. Quadri Ismail, not the Rocket.
They
Quadri.
went because they had good teams with Brad Johnson as well. Before
Yeah, they did. You're right.
he went to Tampa and managed his way to a
Super Bowl.
championship there. So yeah, I mean, if Randall. And
Yeah,
then
I
he
just
got,
thought Randall was a better quarterback.
and then
than McNabb,
Kotite, and then in '94, Kotite took over and just tried to make Randall a pocket passer,
which
and
was a big mistake.
Randall was having
But
none
he
of
had
it.
no-
He had a bad attitude about it, and then he tore his ACL in the first game against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and Kotite destroyed the Eagles, and then he went and destroyed
Yeah.
the Jets too.
And then, I mean, but
so
you're
Kotite
right.
was terrible.
I mean, I'd have to look back and see how many of those playoff disappointments, Randall actually started.
I remember one specifically against the Rams, where I think they lost 21-7.
Yes, but they also won a playoff game that year against the Detroit Lions. I
Didn't
believe.
they also win a game against Atlanta, or was that Jaworski?
They beat the Saints one year. I don't recall who the quarterback was.
I think
This is
that was Randall, I think.
This is 3-4 years before I'm really like a sports nerd.
I believe that was.
I was still young then.
I think Randall was the quarterback then.
Well, the team in the early '90s that got robbed was the team that lost the Fog Bowl.
Against the Bear. Yeah.
That was I'm fairly certain that was a Randall team, and the Eagles were far superior to the Bears on paper.
Yeah, but they couldn't throw the ball down the field because of the fog.
Yeah, and they were winning at halftime when it was sunny, and then they couldn't do anything because of the fog.
Yeah, that was.
That's the bowl. That's the team that's the one that got away in terms of the Buddy Ryan era.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because you
with
had Reggie.
That was a pretty good.
Because you
team.
had Reggie, Jerome, Seth
Joyner,
Eric Allen.
Yeah, that was a good team.
Like they had the safeties that just knocked the snot out of you. They had really good teams. But anyway, we'll see how in 5 years. I guess we're gonna see how it shakes out with Eli.
I don't know. I don't know how long it takes to get eligible for Football Hall of
I
Fame.
think it's 5 years now.
I don't know. I thought it was 2. I mean, I honestly don't know.
It's 5 years because 5 players can get in each season.
Okay, so it's 5.
So
All
maybe
right.
I'm confused about that.
I don't know that. Listen, I can tell you that I don't know that he's going to get voted in the first time. I don't think he will.
See, I don't put any credence into that.
No, I do because I think
No.
to get voted in on your first ballot, you should be exceptional. And
The
the first four quarterbacks that I named, Rodgers, Breeze, Peyton Manning, who am I missing? Brady. Those four will get in on the first.
But like
ballot.
this is why I'm at wit's end with these Hall of Fame things. It's like oh, but he's not like Jeter. He's not. Who cares that he's not a unanimous Hall of Famer? Who cares?
No, I don't care.
He's in there.
I don't really care. It doesn't make a difference to me at this point.
Like how is Larry Walker? We're transitioning to baseball for the last few minutes of this segment. Like why is Larry Walker? Oh, it's last year of his eligibility, so now he's a Hall of Famer. He wasn't a Hall of Famer the first 9 years he was on the ballot. I don't understand. Good and congratulations to Larry Walker for
do
getting
you
in the
think
Hall
that
of
Larry
Fame.
Walker doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
No, I mean we talked about it last. We talked
last
about
time
it.
we were here, I highly endorsed him. I predicted that he was going to get in, and I predicted Jeter would get in, and Schilling would just miss.
I was disappointed. I was disappointed that more guys didn't get in. I thought 2 was a little skimpy based on who was eligible.
I think Schilling gets in next year.
But that's the thing I don't understand. If he's a Hall of Famer next year, why is he a Hall of Famer this year? 10 guys can get in baseball.
Well,
right?
How many can you vote for?
You can
on the
vote for
ballot?
10.
You can vote for 10?
So I guess that means 10 could get in. I guess more than 10 could get in. There's no limit like there is in football.
Yeah,
But you
I
can-
mean,
but
I don't
like when
really.
the-
I don't really understand. I mean, I understand your point, and you made a good point several times about this. That how are you? Why are you not a Hall of Famer your first year of eligibility, but all of a sudden the second or third year you are a Hall of Famer? Your stats didn't
It's
change.
like if you're going to
You're not wrong about that, but there is something to be said about the fact that they only like to put special guys in on the first ballot. That's just how they are.
I mean, being in the Hall of Fame, I mean, what percentage of baseball players actually make the Hall of Fame?
1 or 2%.
That's not special enough. You got to make these levels of special. Like Ricky Henderson, probably the greatest leadoff hitter of all time.
Oh, I would agree with you.
Like, not unanimous, didn't get in on his first ballot.
Whoever didn't vote for him was just didn't
Like why?
Ricky Henderson.
And then all of a sudden he's the greatest thing since sliced bread in his second year of eligibility. It makes no sense to me.
Because somebody didn't. Because there's some of these sports writers have no business.
It's like Terrell
voting.
Owens. Terrell Owens had to wait like 4 years to get in. To me, in my opinion, he's
Yeah,
the
I don't
second best
understand that.
receiver of all time.
I don't understand.
He's
why
no
he wasn't.
lower than third. And then you have the NFL 100. They didn't even tab him as one of the top 11 receivers in the history of the game. It's a joke.
Really?
Yeah. The receiver show,
He
Not-
wasn't considered one of the top
No.
10?
they picked 11 receivers. T.O. was not one of them.
I disagree with that.
And then everybody does.
You know, I even like T.O., but I mean, I recognize how good he was.
But
and how
like Randy Moss,
impossible he
Randy
was.
Moss's unanimous selection to the NFL 100 team. I mean, he went to Oakland for 2-3 years, smoked pot the whole time, and did absolutely nothing. Then finally got himself into a good situation with the Patriots. Then all of a sudden he's the greatest ever again. T.O.
You're right about
for,
that.
for everything you can say about T.O.
Oh, he always laid it on the
off
line
the
of
field. Between the lines on Sunday, he gave you everything he had. I mean,
Yes,
he
he
played.
did.
McNabb was throwing up in the Super Bowl. T.O. was having 140 yards receiving with a broken
With
leg.
a broken ankle. Yeah, that's right.
It's ridiculous.
That's right.
But I mean, getting the baseball, Larry Walker gets in. I mean,
I think Larry Walker should have been in
absolutely.
before then. He,
3 batting titles, 7 Gold Gloves, an MVP award, 4 or 5 Silver Sluggers. I mean, he hit 366 with
he
over
had
40.
370 one year.
Yeah, when he won the MVP in
370. I don't
1997.
I don't care what field you play on, okay? In Major League Baseball, if you hit 370, that's unbelievable. That's stuff like Rod Carew used to do. I mean, that's ridiculous to think about. Tony
I mean, you're
Gwynn,
going to hit 37 times out of 50 at bats.
100 at bats.
Yeah, 100. That's what I meant.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it. Tony Gwynn and Rod Carew did that. And Larry Walker did that with power.
And 7 Gold Gloves.
Yeah, and he
So
was
he's
a
no
great
slouch. I know
fielder.
he played left field, but I mean,
So,
7
so did
Gold
Barry-
Gloves.
So did Barry
7
Bonds.
Gold Gloves is 7 Gold Gloves.
Barry Bonds
And that's
played
another
left field,
beat.
and nobody gave him a hard time about
It's
it.
time to put these guys in, Clemens and Bonds. It's time to get these guys in. It's time to put the
Well, understand though, if you put Clemens and Bonds in, then you're going to have to put A-Rod in. You're going to have to put Ortiz in.
well, I've been very vocal about David Ortiz. I mean, I would never vote for a DH to be in the Hall of Fame.
I
Ever.
wouldn't either, but
ever
it-
ever
it is
ever in a million, gabillion, quadrillion years.
You know they
Play
will.
one half of the game. You go
yeah,
up to you go in the game 3 times,
I
and
know.
you sit your fat ass on the bench the whole rest of the time,
Rob,
and you're Hall of
you're
Famer.
preaching.
Absolutely not.
You're preaching.
Absolutely
to the choir.
not.
You're preaching to the choir here about him, but trust me, he'll make it because the media loves him.
Yeah, and he
that's all
just
that-
got shot. He's got a
Right,
lot of
he's
things
got the
working
sympathy.
for him.
He's got the sympathy vote too. So
No, but A-Rod shouldn't get in because he served suspension for PED use. Manny Ramirez served not 1 but 2 suspensions for PED use.
but you know,
Clemens and Bonds never served suspensions for PED use. Anyone who didn't serve suspensions
Yeah, but
for
that's-
PED use,
Yeah, but you know they did it.
you got to draw a
You got
line
the
somewhere.
smoking- You had the smoking guns.
Okay.
I mean, you know they did it. That's what I'm saying.
O.J. Simpson chopped his wife's head off, but he didn't go to jail.
That's because somebody voted him not guilty.
Correct.
But in the court of public opinion, he was guilty.
Which means nothing.
I know. Rob. I'm just
I forget.
saying,
Are you a Bonds Clemens Hall of Fame guy or no?
No, I think if you do steroids, I don't think you should be in the Hall of Fame. That's
Can't-
why I can't. That's why I can't put Andy in, even though I love Andy.
Pettit's borderline, to say the least.
He's borderline, but the PED use throws
It's
him
going to
right
be
out.
interesting next year because there are no worthy Hall of Fame selections next year.
Well, Schilling will get in.
No, I'm talking about the new guys who are eligible.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing. So that's gonna leave the door open for maybe guys like Andrew Jones, Schilling.
Well, Schilling.
I forget who else
Schilling
just missed.
Schilling is gonna.
You think he
in.
should get in?
Yeah. Yeah, I do, because he was a dominant pitcher.
Cy Young, World Series MVP, I guess. Couple of championships.
Another guy who raised his level in big games. And when he pitched
Yes.
for you guys, you had no team at all, and he'd go out there and he
93.
and he was. What about some of the other years when you had a shitty team?
But he's won Cy
and
Young
he was-
awards, whereas Eli Manning hasn't been an MVP
True, but he
or
also,
an All-Pro.
Well, because there were other quarterbacks that were better than him.
That's my point with Eli Manning.
But Kurt Schilling, I mean, if Kurt Schilling would have played in the same league as Randy Johnson, he wouldn't have won any either.
What do you mean? Didn't he win with the Diamondbacks? Didn't he win a Cy Young award with the Diamondbacks?
Who? Schilling?
Yeah.
No, I think he won with the Red Sox. Randy Johnson was not. Randy Johnson. They played together. No, he did win with the Diamondbacks. You're right. But
So,
when Randy Johnson was on the team, Randy Johnson got traded to that team.
I mean, Kurt Schilling got traded to the Diamondbacks as well
Right. But
from the Phillies for a pile of trash and one of the worst trades maybe ever. NLCS MVP? No, Kurt Schilling never won a Cy Young.
Okay, but would you not?
That's
say
tough.
Would you say that he's not wasn't a dominant pitcher? Would you say that he didn't raise his level of play?
Three-time World
big
Series
spots?
champion, World Series MVP, NLCS MVP. That was with the Phillies in '93. A six-time All-Star, 216 wins.
Now, I mean, this is a guy I hate, Rob, but he's a Hall of Famer.
I don't know. I'm a big.
In a big spot, he pitched great every time. I mean, he was.
I gotta go no
really
on. I
good.
gotta go no. He's really close, and to me, if there's any doubt in my mind, it's a no. So I gotta go no on Schilling.
Yeah, I think he's going to make it next year.
I mean, the way he's raised each year would indicate that in a year where there's no, like when I say there's no one eligible for the first time next year, there's no one. It's like Dan Ugla.
No.
Frank, can you bring up that list? Hold on. 2020.
2021.
21 Hall of Fame candidates. Here we go. 2020 potential Hall of Fame ballot. Baseball Reference. For. Yeah, I mean, like Bobby Abreu's not a Hall of Famer. Tim Hudson's not a Hall of Famer. Barazito, Dan Herron,
No.
Aramis Ramirez,
No.
Torrey Hunter,
Close, but no.
like Shane Victorino, Grady Sizemore, Dan Ugla.
No.
Like, it's just not a good year. So
Yeah,
there might be
there's
no
nobody.
one getting in next year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They'll Schilling will end up getting in.
I mean,
They'll vote for Schilling because they'll vote for somebody.
which makes me think that next year might be
you could
Bonds
next year
and
could
Clemens.
Be, yeah, that could be next year. Could be Bonds and Clemens too. As I said though, once those two get in, then you're opening the door for all the other.
but like Billy Wagner.
cheaters.
He's not a Hall of Famer. Are you an
No.
Andrew Jones guy? Last thing before break, are you an Andrew Jones Hall of
No.
Fame guy?
No.
My brother-in-law made some compelling arguments, but I have to agree with you. Hall of Very Good, not Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. He wasn't a legendary type of player.
All right, let's take our break. Sports Hounds, A2D Radio. We'll be back right after this. We'll talk some hockey. We'll talk some Super Bowl. See you on the other side. All right, welcome back. Sports Hounds Real Talk Studio with you till 10 o'clock. As always, brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. 3 convenient locations. Visit specializedphysicaltherapy.com. If you miss any of our shows, stream us, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify. Movement is real. Join the debate. Like and share us, A2D Radio, A2D Live on all forms of social media. Super Bowl 6 days away, Brad. We kind of got a little sidetracked with our Eli Manning debate, with our baseball debate, and obviously Kobe Bryant passing away yesterday. But this is shaping up to be quite a game.
Very good matchup.
Certainly should be better than the crap we watched last year when the 13-3 Patriots over the Rams. It was just a terrible, awful game. But I mean, you got a lot of star power here. You got 2 great coaches. You have Mahomes. You have the great defense of the Niners. Me and Greg talked about it last week with our when you were off, with our early leans. I still don't know who to pick. I was feeling Niners right off the bat. Then I was feeling Chiefs. Now I don't really know who to pick. Perhaps you can sway me. Perhaps the fam out there can sway me in the comments section. But, I mean, where are you leaning, Brad?
I like the 49ers.
You do.
I always go with the Super Bowl. I always like to go with the team that I think has a better defense. And I do think the 49ers have a better defense. And I do think Jimmy Garoppolo can win a football game by himself. Absolutely.
You do?
Yes, I do.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I think Jimmy G is a good quarterback.
Did we not watch them against Seattle? Did we not watch what he did against the Saints when they got 48 points against the Saints?
Yeah.
And they won in New Orleans. They won that game 48-45, I think. I mean, that team can score. They can play any way they want to play. If they want to throw the ball, they can throw the ball. They've got guys who can catch the ball. They may have the second or third best tight end in football right now. If you're saying Kelsey and Ertz are number 1 and 2,
no, George Kittle's the best tight end in football.
You think he's better than Kelsey?
Yes.
Okay.
He's an unbelievable. I mean,
Kelsey's really good.
I mean, part of the reason that they're the number 1 running team in the league, at least second, right? I guess Lamar Jackson and the Ravens were better than them to start. I mean, it's because George Kittle is just as good a blocker as he is a pass catcher. That's part of it too, at least in my opinion.
I agree with you. Kelsey can block too, though. Let's not make. Like
I don't know. I just look at everything George Kittle brings to the table, and I just think he's the best tight end in the league.
George Kittle is really good. He's really good, and I think they have Emmanuel Sanders, right? Isn't that their
they have
number 1 receiver? I mean,
Debo Samuel, Kittle, Emmanuel Sanders,
and they have the 3-headed monster to run.
We'll see if Tevin Coleman can play. I mean, he dislocated his shoulder. He messed up his shoulder, arm,
he may
whatever.
Not play then. But
they still Mostert's on fire.
Yep. I mean, that team just physically, and I've always thought this with the Super Bowl. I always feel like the team that I think is more physical and is usually going to win. And I think that is going to hold.
I mean, that's definitely the Niners.
Yeah, I just think the more physical stronger football team is going to win, and that is the Niners right now.
Do you have a score? Do you have
Yeah, 27-20.
27-20? So you're an under guy like me.
I like.
I
the
think it's
under.
going to go narrowly under. The
I think if you're betting
over-unders
if you're
up to
betting the
54.5 according to Sports Insights.
Chiefs, if you're betting the Chiefs, you bet the over. If you're betting the 49ers, you're betting the under. And I do think the 49ers are going to keep them under control. Like maybe 28-24, something like that. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I think in the end, I don't know that the Chiefs – I just think they're going to wear the Chiefs down. Keep in mind, I mean, that the Titans scored some points against them. But Jimmy G is a way better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, you can't compare those two. You just can't. And, I mean, when push comes to shove, Jimmy G can go back there and he can throw. He'll get you a lot of yards. They just haven't had to lean on him to do that because they've been just controlling the game on the ground.
What did he throw 8 times in the NFC title game?
Something like that. He didn't need to because Green Bay, they were running the ball down. Green Bay's defense looked like a high school team out there, the way they were running the ball down their throats. I mean, it's hard to believe a team in a championship game could allow themselves to get run on like that. That's unbelievable. I mean, I can understand teams getting ripped apart through the air. That's, I mean, that's today's NFL. But to let a team, how many yards did they end up running for that game? Like almost
a lot.
300?
I mean, I can't lie. I didn't really watch much of the second half.
I mean, but it was almost 300 yards. I mean, what NFL team allows 300 yards rushing in a championship game? I mean, it's disgraceful.
The Packers.
Yeah, well, that's disgraceful. And everybody was making like their defense is so much better and it's so much improved.
I'm starting to
That's a
feel
big
the
spot.
Niners. I really am because the Niners are better in both trenches.
They are, and the thing is,
And then everyone wants, and
Defense-
I'm guilty of it last week.
Defense travels.
Like I harped on the quarterback matchup last week, but that doesn't even make any sense because Patrick Mahomes and Jimmy Garoppolo are never on the field at the same time.
No, and they don't go against each other's defense. If Jimmy Garoppolo had to go up against San Francisco's defense,
That's a different
that'd
story.
Be a different story, but San Francisco's defense is just it's better than Kansas City. Listen. I love Andy. I hope Andy gets a Super Bowl. I'm going to be rooting for the Chiefs. I can't stand the 49ers. I have bitterness for against the 49ers from where the Giants used to play them back in the 80s and 90s. In the playoffs, I still can't stand San Francisco. I think they're going to win, though. I just do. I think they're just too big, too strong. They're going to wear Kansas City's defense down, and they'll be running the ball down their throats in the fourth quarter. And you know what? Kansas City's just not. If Kansas City is not ahead in the fourth quarter, big, they're going to lose because they won't be able to stop San Francisco.
Do you have any YouTube comments, Brad?
Let's see. David Rosca. Can't believe. Okay, it's basically Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, read them off.
Okay.
So we didn't do any YouTube comments.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go back to. Okay, let me just go back to the beginning.
I'm starting to lean the Niners. I'm starting to agree with you. Because if the old adage is true that football games are won in the trenches, then the Niners have to be the favorite. They have the best defensive line in football, and their offensive line isn't shabby either. They run the ball. They're very physical, like you said. They just can't. I think they're a good enough defense to not let Mahomes get on one of these epic rolls that he got on against the Texans and the Titans, neither of which have a defense nearly as good as the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
And then if you look back to week 1, the Niners have been near the top or top of the power rankings
all year.
Every week, all year.
They were the last team that was undefeated. When they lost to Seattle, they lost because they didn't have Kittle. As a matter of fact, I think they lost 2 games without Kittle. I think they've only lost one game.
Their first loss was to the Ravens at Baltimore in the rain, if my memory serves me.
The first loss was against Seattle at home. And then they
You
lost,
might be right.
Yeah, they lost to Seattle at home, and they didn't have Kittle. And then the next week they played the Ravens in the rain, and they didn't have Kittle that game either, and they lost that game as well. I think they only lost one game with Kittle in the lineup. If anybody out there can remember,
Bob Brinkman checks in. Top ballers that played high school ball in Philly: Wilt, Kobe, Earl Monroe, Rasheed Wallace, Lionel Simmons. I don't mention Kyle Lowry, McKee, Hank Gathers. I mean, Kobe. Just it's a rich basketball history, and Philadelphia definitely lost a basketball legend in Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, they've had some really good.
Hank Gathers, another Philadelphia guy who
Emmett
collapsed on the court.
Yep, Emmett Bryant. If you remember Kobe's father, Emmett used to play for the Knicks. I believe he played for the 76ers as well.
Yes, he did.
He was basically a backup point guard, but he was an effective NBA player.
Correct.
For a while. He had like an 8 or 9 year career.
And then Chrome checks in. Chrome will be on twice this week. Birds of a Feathers tomorrow. I'm sure they'll be talking Super Bowl, and then they'll be talking Royal Rumble on Thursday night with lazy booking. He says R.I.P. Mamba, and he also thinks that Andy Reid will get his ring finally on Sunday. 14 and Bob Brigham, 4 TDs by one guy on the ground is poor D, which
exactly.
I
agree. I just went through saying that.
I agree.
That's a high school defense. That's high school performing. I mean, in a championship game, you should never let up for 300 yards rushing.
Who do you think has the coaching advantage? Shanahan's pretty good. I know he doesn't have the resume, and he blew that game when he was calling plays with.
Right now, you got to give it to the Chiefs until.
I'm not so sure Kyle Shanahan's not a better in-game coach than Andy Reid.
What I liked about Andy Reid and is kind of what gets him in trouble with you guys, and that is that he's aggressive and he goes for the kill. Okay, and he doesn't. Like when he's trying to win a game, he's not going to run the ball his 4-minute offense is not going to be 3 runs, then punt,
Andy Reid,
and then hope his defense wins the game for him.
All of Andy Reid's runs, especially in big games, are in his first 15 to 20 scripted plays.
Well, he has the jet sweep with. He seems to have that work that down with Tyreek Hill. I'll tell you that.
Well, I mean, you can run it. You could tell him you could post it on the jumbotron that it's coming. It's just.
Yeah, he's so
too fast.
Yeah, he is. It's ridiculous how fast he is. But
it's too bad he represents himself like such a thug. Because he's such a good player, and it's a shame that a guy like Mamba has to get killed at 41 with his daughter in a helicopter crash. And every time I open my phone, Antonio Brown's in a straitjacket at jail. Odell Beckham's smacking a cop on his ass at the national championship game. Kareem Hunt just got arrested again. Josh Gordon gets arrested again, and then Kobe gets killed in a helicopter crash. It's really not fair.
I'm going to tell you something, though. Antonio Brown, and this is just my opinion, I think he's got PTSD from all those hits to the head. I really do. I think that play by Burdick, is that his name?
Yeah, Perfect.
That cheap shot that he gave him in the playoffs that one year, I really think that he's been a little cuckoo ever since that play happened. I don't think he's been the same guy. I think he's got if I bet you if they did a MRI in his brain or did some kind of a brain scan, he's got some kind of brain damage that's causing him to act this way because he wasn't like this earlier in his career.
Mm-hmm.
He's a danger to himself. I said this on Facebook.
Perhaps he was.
I believe it.
Perhaps he was, but he was well behaved. Ever since he got paid, he's been a jackass.
But
and whatever, if he has PTSD and mental illness, like he should get help and whatever.
He's a danger to himself and he's a danger to
me.
others.
Ever since he got paid by the Steelers, he's acted like a complete jackass. Between, do or die. Win, you go to the playoffs. Lose, you go home. He just ups and leaves the team.
That was awful. But the game against the Ravens a few years ago, he got when Pittsburgh and the Ravens were playing in Pittsburgh, and the winner got to go to the playoffs. I mean, he was the one that made all the big plays in that game.
Oh, he's a tremendous football player when he wants to be.
Yeah. Oh, he absolutely is.
He's not acting like a jackass.
It just seems to me like ever since that hit, something seemed to have
See,
happened
now,
with him. And I don't
I think
know.
he
maybe
got
I'm
his. I
wrong.
think he got his big paycheck and
Could be.
got an inflated head.
Could be,
and-
but I think I would bet you that if you did a brain scan on him, there's something's not right with him.
yeah, his IQ's too low.
Maybe
That's what it is.
Maybe he's been an ass his whole life, and he just had the filter up, and then he.
I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason that a talent like that goes to what was it, Central Michigan, when he's from South Florida, the mecca of high school football.
Because
You got Florida State. You
'cause
get
he's a
Florida
pain in the
State,
ass.
Miami, and Florida right there.
Well,
South Florida and
listen,
UCF are not bad programs
Miami
either.
is not known for selecting scholarly athletes either.
Yeah, and they all pass on him, and he had to go up to Michigan to play his
Yeah,
college football.
That's a good point.
So it's
That's
like
a good
Kareem
point.
Hunt. Kareem Hunt, he's so great. Why is he at Toledo? Because you're a jerk off. Tyreek Hill got booted out of Florida,
But it's
where
not
they're
like
very
that.
lenient on character. They've had Riley Cooper. They have Aaron Hernandez. They've had all kinds of just the
But
Pouncey
they had-
twins.
But they had
just
they had
bad
Tebow-
eggs.
But they had Tebow
Tyreek
there to
Hill
keep
got-
everybody under control.
Tyreek Hill got kicked out of there and had to go to South Alabama and had to be a fifth-round pick. So a lot of that, I think, where he played his college ball is
Well, what about
also telling.
What about Victor Cruz? Victor Cruz ended up going to UMass. He wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't even drafted.
No, but
He
I
was a
mean
free
that's
agent.
just he just slipped through the cracks, which happens.
Yeah. I mean, Darius Slayton on the Giants was a fifth-round pick.
From the SEC, yeah, from the SEC.
Yeah,
Bob
that's
Brinkman
true.
checks in.
That's true.
Chiefs have Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Bieniemy. They're better across the board. I mean, I hear you. I mean, all those coaches have
Well,
excellent resumes on the Chiefs.
Spagnuolo has won 2 Super Bowls. No, 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah,
He was with the Giants.
he's
in
a D
2007.
he's a D coordinator. Yeah,
Yeah. Perry Fuel won it in 2012 with the Giants. Spagnuolo is a good defensive coordinator, and Kansas City has a lot of really good defensive players.
and
but
then
I in no way think that Kansas City is physical enough defensively to be able to consistently stop the 49ers. And if the 49ers get that running game going in the first quarter and start wearing down that defense, it's going to be a real problem for them come the second half. And I'll tell you what, if they get behind 10-0 or 17-0 to this 49er team, they're not
That's not
coming
gonna
back.
fly.
They're not going to
no,
come
it's
back.
not gonna fly. You're right.
Yeah, they're not
You're
going to
right.
come back. That won't
Bob
work.
Brinkman, Chiefs have more speed overall. They just got to stop the run. It's easier said than done against this Niners team because they scheme holes
Yeah, they do.
and they scheme Debo Samuel in the run game.
and if you dare-
like,
And if you dare Jimmy G to beat you, he will beat you.
I think you're right about that.
I mean, I firmly believe that. I mean, people underrate him a little bit because this team was so good. But take a look at how many yards passing he had this year. I think he had like 3,900, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look this up real quick.
Yeah, I mean he's a good quarterback.
Oh,
I wouldn't say he's a great quarterback. Maybe if he wins Sunday, he'll be a great quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what kind of a game he has. But, I mean, let's see. Jimmy Garoppolo's stats this year. All right, for the season, yeah, he had 3,978 yards passing and 27 touchdown passes, 13 interceptions. I mean, and he had a 102 passer rating. I mean,
He had a good season. There's
yeah,
no doubt
I mean,
about it.
Are you telling me that a guy who throws for 3,966 yards isn't capable of winning a championship? Come on, that guy can throw the ball too. As I said, they elect to run the ball and play great defense, but they don't have to play that way. And that's the difference, and that's what's scary. And that's the difference between the 49ers and the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans had to run the ball. And when they got behind, it took the running game away.
Bob Brinkman, don't forget they have Suggs and the Honey Badger. 2 good players. They're physical and leaders. So it sounds like Bob is liking the Chiefs. I don't know. I want to bring up some of these prop bets. Prop bets are always fun.
Oh,
So
who scores first and that sort of thing?
yeah, I had it on my computer, but it died.
I would think that the Chiefs, the shortest shot on the board for the Chiefs, might be Travis Kelce. And I think
For what, MVP?
no, for first touchdown. My opinion, and I haven't looked at the numbers, but I'm guessing Travis Kelce might be like 4-1, something like that. And Mostert for San Francisco would probably be about 4-1.
All right, so these are according to Parks Casino. Money line, it's pretty even. Chiefs are a -127 favorite, so you get $1.04. You're plus $1.04 with the Niners to win that outright. So
That's pretty much even.
you just take the one. You just take the 1.5 there. Over under 54. I like the under.
Yeah, I like the under, too.
I'm like at a 28-24 game, 27-24 game.
in that range.
Something like that. No matter who wins, I like the under, and I like betting unders. I think it's fun, even though people hate it because you got to root for field goals and not touchdowns.
Oh, I know.
I love.
That's okay. Listen, you know what?
Rooting for
if you
unders.
like doing that, that's
How about the MVP of the game? The two favorites are obviously the two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Jimmy Garoppolo, plus 115 and plus 225 respectively.
115. Boy, that's
Yeah, so they really
They
think
really
that the
think it's
Chiefs are
gonna
going to
be
win,
Mahomes.
and they really think Mahomes is going to be the MVP.
yeah.
I mean, you have George Kittle at 16-1, Tyreek Hill at 20-1, Travis Kelce also at 20-1. Nick Bosa is 25-1. I think betting on a defensive guy to win MVP
That's
is just
silly. That's a waste
just a
of money.
sucker bet.
That's like betting at 8-horse at the track in harness racing on a half-mile track. You know, you
Damian Williams is interesting at 25-1. Watkins and Emmanuel Sanders at 45-1.
What about Mostert?
Mostert's 9-1. He's the top odds non-quarterback. So he's the favorite. So he's the third favorite after the quarterbacks.
Okay. And what's Kelce again?
20-1. Him and Hill would be next at 20. I'm sorry, Kittle at 16-1. Hill and Kelce. I don't think they're going to let Hill beat him. So I think Kelce would be the better bet there. To have
I
a
agree
better
with you,
game
and
than Hill.
I think he throws more to Kelce too.
Well, Hill is just
He's
he's
burner.
the big play guy.
He's the home run. Yeah, he's the home run hitter.
If you're looking for a sleeper, I'll give you two. I'll give you one from each team. Sammy Watkins at 40-1. I'm sorry, 45-1. I think that's an interesting sleeper when it comes for the
Problem
Chiefs.
is he doesn't throw the ball enough to Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, but I mean, if they
Well, if they
he could slip through the cracks,
he
is
could.
what I'm
He
saying.
could.
Have
They
a big
could- they
game.
could-
I mean,
they
there's a
could,
reason. I get it. There's a reason he's a 45-1. Long shot.
Sammy Watkins is a really good receiver. He's just on this team.
That's
he's
what I'm
the
saying.
He's the third option on this team, but I mean, he's really a good receiver.
And then you have also at 45-1 the Niners' top receiver, Emmanuel Sanders. So I think those are two pretty good sleepers if you're looking for MVP bets.
What about
How about this?
What about scoring the first touchdowns? Because I always like betting that. Because you get the quick gratification on that.
Let's see if I can find this.
'Cause that's always a fun one. You know, last year I had Gronk as my choice, and he was I think 7-1, and he caught a pass and rolled into the end zone, and they marked him down at the 1-yard line, and then Sonny Michel ran it in. Boy, was I mad!
Touchdown scorer. First touchdown. So Raheem Mostert's the favorite, 6.5-1. Oh, I'm sorry. They're all 9. Okay, so they have it divided between Niners and Chiefs. So when you go to the Niners, so this is first touchdown of the game. So obviously one team can score the first touchdown of the game. Mostert 6.5 to 1. Kittle's 10 to 1. Deebo Samuel 12 to 1. Tevin Coleman, who might not even play, 14 to 1. Manuel Sanders 16 to 1. And then Matt Breida, Kendrick Bourne.
Right, and then the long shots. What about Kansas City?
Any other? I mean, you could bet Jimmy G to sneak it in. It's 45 to 1. If you're looking for depends how you like to bet. Do you like to just play it safe, or are you trying to look for a monster payoff?
See, I would if I was taking the 49ers, I might take Kittle.
That would be 10 to 1.
Yeah,
Not bad.
Because Mostert's going to be what?
6.5
6.5 to 1.
Yeah.
To me, that's not a good enough payout because it's not easy to get. It's not easy to hit that. I think if it, on 3rd and goal from the 3 or 4 yard line, they're going to throw the ball to the tight end. That's just what teams do. Just like Kansas City, if it's there, if it's like the 5 yard line, the 4 yard line, they're gonna go to Kelsey. So I would bet Kelsey if I was betting the Chiefs.
Kelsey is 8 to 1. He's the third favorite. You got Damian Williams 6.5 to 1. So both running backs 6.5 to 1 to score the first touchdown. Tyreek Hill 7.5 to 1. Sammy Watkins 18 to 1. Nicole Hardman 22 to 1.
Sammy Watkins is not a bad bet for that.
Yeah, I like that 18 to 1.
Yeah, that's not a bad bet. You bet $10, you get 180 back.
Patrick Mahomes to run it in 25 to 1. LaShawn McCoy 40 to 1. LaShawn McCoy wasn't even active in the AFC title game, so just be careful. Make sure he's active before you put in a prop bet on him, because that would just be a
sucker bet.
Yeah, that would be a real kick in the teeth if you just.
That would be a foolish bet.
I mean, just donate it to charity if that's how you're going to be.
Yeah, I agree. I always think though that your best bet with these two teams is, if you want to bargain, pick the two tight ends, because I think that you got a real good shot with them. I think if Kelsey is what did you say Kelsey was 8 to 1?
8.5.
8.5 to 1 with Kelsey, and Kittle is
10.
10 to 1. If you put
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, they're the two best guys at their respective positions in the whole league.
Right.
With Ertz
in
the mix, and then everybody else.
Exactly. Those three are head and shoulders above the rest of the league.
How about a safety to be recorded?
No.
So you lay up $12.50 to win 100 on that. It's an 8 to 1 if there's a safety. That's nowhere near
that's
good
not
enough payoff.
It should be 25 to 1, because that's how often you get a safety.
And you have stuff like a team to obtain the most first downs. I mean, that's a coin flip.
Bet. That's a stupid bet.
Last team to score and first team to score. Team to score first touchdown. None of these are. I'm trying to my prop bets. I like hitting a home run. I want to get like an 8 to 1.
Team to score
bet.
the first touchdown is going to be San Francisco, because
it's minus 108.
Oh, then don't even waste your money on that. You're best. I'm telling you, you're best off if you're betting the touchdowns. Go with the two tight ends. You make a little cash on them. Play them both. I mean, if you're getting those kind of odds, you put like $20 on each one. How
about
for $40? You can win. You're going to win probably $300 to $400. So
either team to score a special teams touchdown. 6.5 to 1 if Tyreek Hill takes a punt return to the house.
I think it's a little too low.
And then you gotta lay out almost $1,200 to win 100 on the no.
Yeah, I think that.
Well, it's not going to be a kickoff return for a touchdown, because everyone just kicks it through the end zone, so it's got to be a punt. And then the opening kickoff to be returned for a touchdown.
No.
66 to 1.
No, that's not going to happen.
Nope, Devin Hester is not playing in this game.
No.
So, official selections. I think we're both going Niners here.
You like the Niners?
I don't know.
You're going to go with the Niners?
You're going what? 27-20 Niners?
I'm going 27-20 Niners.
I'm picking Andy. I'm just going to pick Andy just because it's Andy, and I want that monkey to be off his back.
I think everybody does. I just think the 49ers might.
He's different than when he was in Philadelphia. He's different now. He's looser.
He's also plays to win. I like that. I mean, I like the fact that against the Titans,
He's looser.
when the Titans made it 35-24, it started looking like they may have a chance to get back into that game. You know, he was throwing the ball. He wasn't just running the ball and try to run out the clock.
Shoot or shoot.
Huh? Yeah.
I mean, shoot or shoot. You have
Yeah.
Mahomes. You have the receivers.
Yeah.
You have,
I mean, you have a great quarterback and you have great receivers. Win the damn game with your strength, your offense. Play to win the game. Stop.
that's also what gets him in. That's also what gets him in trouble sometimes
Yeah, no,
as well.
I know. But see, like I was, all year I'm watching the Giants, and when the Giants had a lead, they would run the ball into the line, get stopped, and then punt, and then give the ball back to the other team, and their defense was the worst defense in the league, and ultimately they would lose.
Yeah.
That's been going on for years and years now, and that's why I couldn't stand Pat Shurmur. That's why Pat Shurmur had to go.
So I'm gonna go Chiefs 28-24. And then, I don't know. I don't know if I can pick against Patrick Mahomes as far as MVP goes.
You can't really.
Well, you're a Niners, so you got to pick a Niner. You don't have to, but, I mean, if the Niners win, they're probably going to have the MVP on their team.
Yeah, well, I'd have to pick Garoppolo.
Jimmy G.
Mm-hmm.
So no money to be made in the MVP
No,
prop
I
bet,
think it's going to be Garoppolo.
according
I
to the
think-
Sports Hounds.
I think he's going to have a great game. I think he's going to throw a lot more than people might think because he can. And if Andy goes and he loads the line and dares Garoppolo to beat him, he's going to lose. I mean, he's got to play the game honest.
I mean, I don't have him right here handy on my phone, but I'd be willing to look at, like, take a look at this Jimmy G individual prop, like passing yards for Jimmy G. I might be inclined to go over just because that number might be low.
It's probably going to be really low.
Like pass attempts for Jimmy G. Like I might look at the over there because I would imagine that number's low.
Yeah, I think they're going to throw the ball a little bit this
And
game.
they might win. So, I mean, all right, it should be a great game. What do you do? Anything? Are you going to go to sports book down there in Atlantic City? What are you going to do?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
You watch the game there, or you just bet and watch it
No,
somewhere else?
I usually.
It's got to be
will
a
ju-
madhouse
I'll
there.
go. No, I usually just go bet at the Trop and then go home
Yeah.
and watch it at home. I don't want to be, at the
Some
casinos.
food, no party?
I could go to the Wonder Bar, pick up some wings.
Yeah.
In my opinion, in Atlantic City, that's the best place to get wings in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Wonder Bar.
And then just a few NFL odds and ends. Your Giants. Daniel Jones era officially has begun. You
Yeah.
have a lot of cap space.
$80 million.
I like your coach. I like your offensive coordinator. I mean, Jason Garrett, I mean, I get he's the butt of a lot of jokes because he just
Yeah, but as
was
an offensive
a
coordinator,
buffoon
I think
down
he's
in
gonna-
Dallas as a head coach. But me and Greg talked about it last week. I don't hate it as an offensive coordinator. at
No,
all.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. And I think he's going to work well with Daniel Jones. I mean, look how well Dak Prescott's played. I mean, you got to give Jason some credit for that. I just think that as a coach, he's a clown, but as an offensive coordinator,
He might be all right.
yeah, I think so. I don't think the Giants did badly with the guys they have coaching.
I mean, the Giants they're a team
nowhere
to
go
watch.
nowhere to go but up this year.
That and you have $75 million in cap space. You have the 4th pick in the draft. You have a franchise quarterback, or you hope you have a franchise quarterback.
It looks like
He
they
looks
have
good. It looks
a very,
promising.
He's a very good prospect right now.
I don't think it's out of the question that would they win? How many games did they win this year?
They only won 4 this year.
4. That wouldn't surprise me if they doubled their win total if they make the right moves and a right draft pick.
Yeah.
Are the Giants? I guess what I'm trying to ask you
problem is they're gonna have a very tough
is the
schedule
New
next
York
year.
fan base confident that this team is on the right track?
I'm not that confident yet. I want to see what they do in the offseason before I know what I would do, but I
Because
don't.
you hate Gettleman.
I am not sure about Gettleman right now.
Is that kind of
Gettleman has done a good job drafting, but he's done a terrible job with free agents.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He's got to pick up his game. He's got plenty of money to work with. Don't be a cheapskate and be getting a bunch of $2 and $3 million players.
Right.
Go out and get the best players you can get.
Get two.
Okay, you
big
got a young.
ticket. Get two big ticket items.
Yeah, you got a bunch of good young players.
They do have a lot of good young players
on their defense, but they desperately need a couple of pass rushers. They need a couple of guys who are leaders on that defense who command respect from these kids and for these kids to follow. I think if they do that, they'll be okay. I do like their offense, but I think you're going to probably see Rhett what's that guy's name?
Rhett Ellison?
Rhett Ellison. I think he's going to get cut. I think Golden Tate's going to get cut.
Really?
Yeah, I do because they're making too much money. I think you're going to see Ogletree get cut.
Whoa. So Gettleman's gonna splurge on Tate and then cut him the next year?
Yeah, I think he's going to cut him.
So what's this guy just going to sign receivers to big money and then just cut him or trade him like he did with Odell and Golden Tate?
I think he's going to cut Golden Tate because Golden Tate is if they cut Golden Tate, they get $11 million on the cap.
I can add that to
right, and if
I'd
you cut Ogletree, you get $8 million extra to the cap. So I'm saying there's a lot. Right now they're $65 million under the cap.
I would love to have Golden Tate back in Philadelphia.
After the cuts, you're going to be looking at between 80 and 90 million. And if I'm them, I am going to. I mean, listen, they proved you can pick up a good receiver. Low in the
looks
draft.
like he really hit a home run with.
I mean, they don't need.
That's why I'm so like everyone. Look, I get it. Like the Eagles need receivers. Their receivers sucked last year, but do you remember their secondary before Jalen Mills came back?
It was
bad too. And then, I don't know. I see 10 potential first-round receivers. 10 receivers aren't going in the first round.
No.
Some of them are going to go drop to the second and third round.
Exactly, and also there's a lot of really good cornerbacks in this draft too. This is supposed to be
there's some free agent corners as well.
Yeah, this is a really good deep draft.
I would love Byron Jones.
Well, everybody is connecting him to Philadelphia right now, and he's certainly sending up some signals that he wouldn't mind playing there. Just like the guy in
Denver, Chris Harris.
The guy in Jacksonville is sending up some signals about playing with the Giants. I've heard a lot of stuff about
that
him
guy's a
to play with
beast.
the Giants. Yeah,
he's going to cost you a lot of money, but who cares? He fills a need, and you have the money.
They have the money to sign him, and they've got to get some pass rushers. I mean, if you get a pass rush can definitely disguise a weak secondary.
I like Love, I like Baker, and I like Peppers.
Yeah, and who was the other one? Ryan Connolly looked like a really good player until he got hurt. He was a middle linebacker. I mean, they do have some guys that aren't. Lawrence looked like a really good player too. I mean,
and then you got to remember Saquon Barkley. He never really got going the whole season.
He was hurt
with his ankle.
Yeah, he was hurt. He came back too soon. I mean, you could see when he was healthy because he was going from 20 yards a game up to over 100 yards a game pretty much right away. So, but I mean, it is what it is. Injuries are part of the game. Football is not a wimpy game. Teams get injured. It's part of the game. And if you're lucky, you stay healthy. If you're not lucky, and you get costly injuries, you look at San Francisco 2 years ago. Jimmy G got hurt, and they were 6-10.
Yeah, you're done.
Or no, they got the second round. They got the second pick in the draft, and they were able to get Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
and that just completely changed the defense around.
They start guys like C.J. Beathard because the Eagles. That was one of the teams the Eagles railroaded on there when they were just killing everybody in 2017. Because it was C.J. Beathard against what was a really good Eagles defense.
Yeah,
poor guy didn't have a chance.
No.
But anyway, did you catch any of the NHL 3-on-3 sham of an All-Star game?
No, I don't. I don't waste my time watching the NHL.
I watched 10 minutes of it before the Sixers played the Lakers.
I don't watch it because I just can't. 3-on-3.
Well, I wanted to see Konechny. The Metropolitan was
the 3-on-3 is so stupid for an All-Star
game.
I mean,
holy smoke! I mean, that they skate harder in practice.
Play the game the right way. It's 5-on-5. If you want to play the divisions against each other, play 5-on-5 for 20 for one period, and then.
But if they skated and tried, it would have been cool. But they didn't skate and they didn't try.
No, and they didn't really. Well, I think the only one that really nobody really checked. Did you happen to see
No.
any of the Pro Bowl yesterday?
Fletcher Cox scored a touchdown.
Yes, he did. I noticed
No,
that.
I didn't watch any of the Pro Bowl.
The guy. I watched a little bit of it. I just kind of got a laugh because the guy in the Jets. What's his name? The crazy ass safety who's really good.
Jamal Adams.
Jamal Adams. He just couldn't help himself. Somebody was going out for a pass and he hit him really hard out of bounds.
Did he really?
Out of bounds. And then
I'd freak out.
He helped the guy up and he helped the guy up and the guy was laughing and Dexter Lawrence is just sitting there like not Dexter Lawrence. Adams just kind of like shaking his head like, oops, and the announcers were even laughing like he just can't help himself.
The Pro Bowl's a joke. NHL.
It
But,
is.
I mean,
all these games, but
NHL second half getting underway tomorrow.
actually it's getting underway tonight. You got
Tonight?
the Devils and
Okay.
Ottawa. Although those are two bad teams. Trade deadline is 3 weeks away.
So
Going to be some real interesting moves, especially in our division.
you got the
I mean,
Rangers and you got the Flyers. Two teams that are kind of in the same boat.
Well, the Flyers are closer to making the playoffs than the Rangers are.
Yeah, but they had that stretch on those two West Coast trips. They just they're actually playing better now. But
Unfortunately, right now they are not in the playoffs. If
No.
the season ended today, they'd not be in the playoffs. The Metropolitan
leading up to the
Division
All-Star
is
break,
tough.
they beat the four best teams in hockey in terms of points.
Yes,
The
they
Blues, the Bruins, Washington, somebody else. Maybe out west.
did. They beat the Blues. They beat Washington. They beat Boston.
They lost 1-0 to Tampa.
Yeah, which was one of their few losses.
They got to get Carter Hart healthy.
Yeah.
Is what they need to do.
Yeah. I mean, look,
And then
the Flyers are a good team. I think they need to make.
I want a scorer.
Yeah, I think
I want
I
a
think
scorer. I
They
need a scorer.
They need a sniper. I mean, and there are a couple available. I don't think the Flyers and Rangers are going to make a trade.
No.
I don't think so. But the Devils have Palmieri, and Kyle Palmieri is a sniper. You okay?
Yeah.
Kyle Palmieri is a sniper. I could see them maybe making a move with the Devils. Simmons will be available. I don't think the Flyers are going to.
No,
be
I've
interested
been there,
in him.
done that. I'm good.
But Palmieri is a guy that would be an interesting fit. He's a goal scorer. I mean, if you want a defenseman, I would think Anaheim's going to be moving Cam Fowler, and he certainly is a real good defenseman.
What's he going to cost?
He only makes $4.5 million. So, and I
What
think
does that mean? I mean, like,
On
how much
the
do I have?
cap.
I mean, how much do I have to trade to get him?
probably not more than a third or second round pick at the most. He's not. You're not going to have to trade a first round pick for him.
Then I'm in.
Yeah,
Well,
I
let's
mean,
just do it.
no, there's
What's the harm in it?
Well, I think that at this point, if I'm the Flower,
So you got to get to the 3 spot.
right, and you're still going to have to play the Penguin.
Pasternak, I mean, he is.
He's very difficult. He's very difficult to contain. That's a good team. You know, the Bruins have a lot of injuries right
And then
now
the
too, and they're
Caps.
still playing well. The Capitals are a team that you have to. The Capitals are a team you want to avoid in the first round too. I mean, you know, they're still loaded with talent. That team.
I mean, Carlson's about to have 100 points as a defenseman.
Yeah, well, I've
It's
been telling you
unbelievable.
how good he is for years. Carlson is a gifted player.
Yeah.
I mean, he always has been. You know, and he's having a super good year this year. You know,
Would you consider the Capitals or the Bruins the favorites in the East?
I'd still have to go with the Capitals because I think Braden Holtby is still the best goalie
best
in
goalie.
the NHL right now.
And then your Lightning, they're on fire,
Yeah, but I didn't pick them this year.
I know.
I picked the Capitals.
so
this
they'll
year.
probably win this year.
Well, maybe it's the Brad curse. I think the Capitals. I think the Capitals went out early last year, and I think that they kind of got embarrassed by
had the
losing
chip.
in the first round. I think.
I mean, that
was
was pretty embarrassing.
It absolutely was. I mean, I know they lost in 7, but that can't happen again. Problem with the Metro for the Flyers is that the Metro is really good this year. I mean, when you take a look at that division, okay, 7 of the 8 teams are over 500. Okay, you go from the bottom with the Rangers, who I think are 4 games over 500.
Yeah, they're a viable team.
They're a decent team.
Are they going to do anything? Are they going to try and push?
No, they're going to probably. I think they're going to unload a couple of guys. I think they're going to trade Kreider because he's an unrestricted free agent, and then try to re-sign him in the summer because he's got 17 goals and they'll get a lot for him. They're going to probably trade Georgiev too, and rumors are with Toronto that they might be getting Kapanen for him and a second-round pick, which is an awful lot. So I mean, if they can make a deal like that, for those 2 guys, that's very good. There's a lot of stuff going on with them.
Who's the biggest name that could potentially get traded?
Right now, it would be Kreider.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Kreider's been red hot. He's got I think 17 or 18 goals.
Yeah, I mean he's an all-star.
And he's an all-star because Panarin got hurt.
Got sick.
Yeah, well he was sick. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately.
Where's he gonna? You got to think they'll trade him out west. No.
Who? Kreider.
Kreider.
They've been talking about the Avalanche, but the Bruins really want him too, and the Rangers have been known to make deals with the Bruins.
Well, it's not in the division, so that's fine.
Yeah, it's still in the conference, but I mean, I could see the Rangers and Bruins hooking up if the Bruins are willing to give up somebody that the Rangers really need. The Rangers need a good
So
forward.
the Rangers are still playing for next year, year after.
Yeah, they've been. I mean, they're
even with
no
Panarin
mistake.
though. I mean, Panarin's really good.
Yeah, but they got him to have. They got him in Trouba so they could have guys to build around because they really didn't have anybody to build around. Those guys are building blocks. They've been playing this year pretty much for next year. They've got 2 real good defensemen that they're going to bring up next year, Nils Lundqvist and K-Andre Miller. So, in all likelihood, and this is a long shot, but it could actually happen. Tony DeAngelo could get traded because he's going to be he's going to be a restricted free agent at the end of the season, and Tony DeAngelo has, I think 30 some odd points, and he's going to probably get about $5-6 million a year. I don't know how the Rangers are going to pay him. They're going to have to pay him, and they're going to have to pay Ryan Strome, and I just don't see where they're going to get the money from with their cap situation right now. So that's why I think that they're going to make some moves for next year. Flyers, though, I really think the Flyers need to make a move. They need to try to find a sniper, and they also need to try to pick up a bruising defenseman. I'd like to see them get a bruising defenseman. I mean, I think that they're a pretty good hockey team.
You add a defenseman.
I'd like to see them
get Hart healthy. And get Hart playing consistent again, like he's capable of doing. And you can get up to not play Boston or Washington.
They've got to try to catch the Islanders and Carolina. And the problem, and now Columbus is snuck in there too. I don't think
Columbus is on fire.
Yeah, but
I don't know how
think
good
Columbus,
they are though.
Well, Columbus is playing very defensive-minded hockey. Tortorella has them playing. Instead of playing all offense, what he's done is he's kind of made them like the Rangers were back in the
he's an excellent
early
coach.
He is, because you know what? If he has offensive players, he'll go for it. If he has defensive players, he can adapt his coaching to the kind of team that he has. And he's got these guys playing real well defensively, and that is a good team. That's why I'm saying the Flyers are going to have their work cut out for them to make the playoffs. It's a very tough division now. And you know what? The Rangers are going to have their work cut out for them to try to make the playoffs next year, because all these teams are really good. I mean, the Carolina's really good. The Flyers are getting better every year. Columbus is young and they're getting better. The Capitals are the Capitals, and the Penguins are still the Penguins. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for both those teams. They're both going to have to pick up their games and improve.
Well, it starts tomorrow. The Flyers, they're going to play. I think they play tomorrow.
I thought they played Friday.
They don't play till Friday?
I thought it was Friday. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not. I know the Rangers don't play till Friday, but I believe the Flyers don't
No,
play till Friday either.
Sixers play tomorrow. They play the Warriors tomorrow.
Okay, so that's a win.
I hope so. Yeah, Flyers will play the Penguins yet again in Pittsburgh
Friday?
on Friday.
That's what I thought.
So that's a big game right up.
That's a huge
Right out
game.
the chute.
Yeah, that's a huge game. They need to try to win that game
Rangers also in action
against the
Friday,
Red Wings. Right?
which should be a win.
Should be. No excuses. You've got to beat teams like Detroit if you're going to try to make the playoffs.
Big time. All right. That'll do it for this edition of the Sports Hounds. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll be back next Monday for full Super Bowl breakdown and all the rest of the news and notes in the world of sports. He's Brad. I'm Rob. See you next week.